Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. The North Ridgeville City Council meeting is now in session. Today is Monday, November 17th, 2025. If you could please rise for the invocation and the Pledge of Allegiance. Father, as we approach the Thanksgiving holiday, we pause to express our gratitude for all the blessings in our lives, and we remember those who are less fortunate. In a particular way, we are thankful for the good work done by the employees and volunteers of North Ridgeville Community Care, several local churches and other organizations in our community in helping those in need all year long, but especially during the holidays. We thank you for the privilege of serving the people of North Ridgeville, and we ask for your continued blessings upon our community. We pray in your name, amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Clerk, please call the roll.
Swink.
Here.
Schaefer.
Here.
Abens.
Here.
Winkle.
Here.
Awig.
Excused.
DeVries.
Here.
Jacobs.
Here.
Mayor. Here. Law Director.
Here.
Engineer. Here. Finance Director. Here. Clerk of Council. Here.
All right, first up tonight, we have the regular City Council meeting minutes dated November 3rd, 2025. Are there any changes or corrections to the minutes? Hearing none, the minutes stand approved as originally submitted. Please note that council has also received the Board of Zoning and Building Appeals meeting minutes dated November 6th, 2025, as well as the Planning Commission meeting minutes dated November 12th, 2025. That'll bring us to our lobby session. The lobby session is the portion of our meeting in which the public has an opportunity to address council as well as the administration. I do ask that anybody wishing to speak this evening speak from the podium, and from the podium only, please. I will ask you to begin by stating your name and your address for the record, at which time you will be allowed up to 3 minutes to speak. As a reminder as well, in the interest of time, the lobby session is not intended to be an interactive question and answer session, but nonetheless, we do welcome and appreciate your feedback. So at this time, the lobby session is now open. I do have some written submissions that I received, which I will take in the order in which they were received. Up first is Greg Fanning. Mr. Fanning, again, if you could please state your name and address for the record in your 3 minutes, we'll begin.
Thank you. All right, my name is Greg Fanning, 6025 Haven Crest Court. Good evening. First, I'd like to congratulate Councilwoman and hopefully the next Council President Holly Swank on being elected as an at-large city councilwoman. I'd also like to congratulate Councilman-elect Paul Wolanski and Councilwoman-elect Kelly Zingali on their victories. Paul and Callie and I may be of different parties and may not agree on absolutely everything, but we have many of the same priorities, and I look forward to seeing what the new council does to help our city be the best state to live, work, retire, and raise a family. I'd also like to express my gratitude and appreciation for the years of service President Jason Jacobs and Councilman Georgia Awig have given to the city. Thank you for all you do. Last Tuesday, the voters sent a mandate to the city government that it is time for accountability, transparency, honesty, and fiscal responsibility. Issue 8 failed by a whopping 32.81%. That's a landslide. That's not an accident. That's a sign of where the people stand and what the people want. It's completely obvious to me that there's a problem with spending and where the money goes. I've heard over and over again we need more money because we have lots of needs. Every city does. Well, here, the thought that I have is cuts. Has anybody thought about cuts? Cutting cost is a way to save money. That should be obvious if you're of a conservative governing mindset. But instead it gets weirder, because just when you think there's a desperate plea and the city is about to run out of money, things start to happen. For example, today when I came to this meeting, I find these 3 big brand new signs outside of City Hall. Not just 1, not just 2, not just 3, but 3 signs. And we don't have any money. No. You have enough money to renovate City Hall, even though it's going to be torn down and a brand new one's going to be built. You have enough money to make giant big signs on the border of North Ridgeville that look beautiful. You have enough money to build new copy rooms. The finance director is making $86,270 in 2019 and is now making $140,000 as of 2024. The mayor was making $122,000 in 2020 and is now making $149,000 $100,000. And to top it off, an arborist was hired. An arborist. If the city is in such a massive financial crisis requiring a tax increase, then why on earth are we renovating City Hall that's going to be torn down, making giant signs at the entrance of North Ridgeville and City Hall, building copy rooms, hiring people that don't need to be hired, and even though the police and fire need the money, such as an arborist? I don't know who the arborist is. I'm sure he or she is a very nice person. I don't know. I don't really personally care who it is. If the city cannot afford basic infrastructure and cannot afford a new fire station, then why are we paying an arborist? Is it to harass Councilman Schaefer about a dead tree that nobody noticed until the councilman spoke up against the administration? It's interesting. Really is. If you have a budget problem, then I think that starts with pay cuts for people that have way too high salaries for a city that is having a budget problem. And another good place to start would be firing the arborist. Fire the arborist. Good place to start. I'm sure whoever the lovely person is can go find a heck of a lot better job in the private sector than working for a city that cannot afford to keep him or her employed because they need to raise taxes to do it. If you think it's a good idea to have an arborist in a city that has budget problems, and because of that you wanted to raise taxes on the hard-working men and women of the city, an arborist for a city that wants to raise taxes. Why do we have an arborist if there's supposedly a budget shortfall? These are the questions I have.
Mr. Fanning, excuse the interruption. Your 3 minutes has elapsed.
Mr. President, move to give Mr. Fanning additional 3 minutes.
Second.
It was moved by Mr. Winkle and seconded by Mr. Schaefer to allow Mr. Fanning up to an additional 3 minutes to speak. Any discussion? All in favor, say yes. Yes. All opposed, say no. Okay, go ahead, Mr.
Thank
Fanning.
you, Mr. President. And not to mention, there's been a complete lack of foresight and a complete disregard for a forward-thinking approach, starting with building houses and houses and houses and houses and houses and houses without impact fees, without bringing any light industrial businesses here. That's what needs to be here. There's so many things that could have been done and can be done to use the money we already have, and yet nothing has been done. That's why today I am calling on City Council to instruct the city to conduct a forensic audit on the expenditures and disbursements in this city. It's obvious there's a money issue. We need to figure out where the money is going, because to be in a finance committee last year and to hear everything is fine and to be told earlier this year that everything's in crisis and we need taxes to survive is suspicious at the very least. Now, to those of you who oppose a forensic audit, my question is simple. What do you have to hide? What don't you want? Why don't you want a forensic audit? If you're innocent and have nothing to hide, then do it. If you're telling us you're all operating in good faith, then do what's right. Because there's a plethora of money being spent, while at the same time we're being told the city doesn't have enough money, needs a tax increase. The contradiction alone demands a forensic audit. So, in conclusion, I urge you all to pass the instruction to conduct a forensic audit and publish these results to the public. The time is now for transparency. The voters demanded it last Tuesday. We demand it now. Thanks again, and Godspeed to the new city council as you serve the city. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Fanning. The next submission is for Robert Baumgartner. Mr. Baumgartner, if you could please begin by stating your name and address for the record, and your 3 minutes will begin, sir.
Thank you, sir. So as you said, my name's Robert Baumgartner. I live at 6327 Stony Ridge Road. I want to begin my lobby session again with a quote from Abraham Lincoln. If you once forfeit the confidence of your fellow citizens, you can never regain their respect and esteem. I chose to open with those words because everything we are discussing tonight comes down to two things: truth and public trust. Both have been compromised in the city, and both must be restored. With the recent election results, the residents of the city made their concerns unmistakably clear. They rejected the mayor's tax measure, and they voted out the council members who supported him without question. That should have sent a strong message about transparency, accountability, and respect for proper public process. Yet we are still seeing troubling behavior, specifically the repeated misuse of the city's emergency clause. The emergency clause exists for one purpose: to address true, immediate threats to public health, safety, or financial stability. It is not a tool to bypass discussion, avoid scrutiny, or to rush legislation just because it's more convenient. We have seen the emergency clause used to pay routine bills, with the city's own financial officer stating payments would be late without it. That's not an emergency. That's just poor financial planning. And at last meeting, the mayor repeatedly used his emergency clause. One of those emergencies was to extend the 180-day moratorium on smoke shops. Regardless of your opinion of smoke shops, the issue is this. Using the emergency clause gave no opportunities for business owners, for potential applicants, or for residents to speak on this issue. And the problem goes even deeper. The city's government has grown complacent and even comfortable in abusing the emergency clause. At the last meeting, every single piece of legislation was passed with an emergency clause. When everything is treated as an emergency, nothing is. That kind of routine, automatic use of emergency powers, it's not government. It's an attempt to shield decisions from public scrutiny. As Senator Rand Paul warned, emergency powers are the favorite tools of tyrants. And when a government starts using emergency authority as routine procedure, it stops serving the people and it starts serving itself. This pattern extends beyond emergency actions. The mayor said he gave a great presentation of the tax bill, yet the ballot was submitted with missing language. Whether that omission resulted from oversight, mismanagement, or intentional exclusion, it raises serious concerns about the integrity of the process. Facts are stubborn things. No amount of presentation or explanations can change the fact that the ballot was incomplete. Our mayor claimed this tax bill was designed to support our first responders, but those very same responders, the men and women who protect this community every day, have said repeatedly that their needs and concerns are ignored or dismissed by this administration. If the goal was to truly help them, the process would have been handled with care, accuracy, and transparency. Instead, the ballot went forward incomplete.
Mr. Baumgartner, your 3 minutes has elapsed.
Mr. President, move to give Mr. Baumgartner just 3 minutes.
Second.
It was moved by Winkle and seconded by Schaefer to allow Mr. Baumgartner up to an additional 3 minutes to speak. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say yes.
Yes.
Yes. All opposed say no. Okay. Mr. Baumgartner.
Thank you, sir. If the goal was to truly help them, the process would have been handled with care, accuracy, and transparency. Instead, the ballot went forward incomplete, undermining the very purpose the mayor claimed to champion. The city's leadership has lost sight of the community's needs. Residents should not be forced to absorb the costs of mismanagement or rushed legislation. They should not be shut out of decisions that affect future of their own city. I am urging the council to reassert your authority, restore proper legislative procedure, and ensure that emergency powers are only used when there is a true emergency. The people voted for change, and they expect it to begin here with you. This city deserves leadership that operates in the open, respects due process, and values the community's voice. It is time to return to governance that reflects those principles. Because to stand in silence when they should be protesting makes cowards of men. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Baumgartner. The third written submission was received from Mr. Gonkowski. If you could please approach the podium and begin by stating your name and address for the record. Your 3 minutes will begin.
All right, J.D. Gonkowski, 34823 Cambridge. Came up with a little different subject, looking at the minutes for the Planning Commission from the last meeting with the street change name. That would be the third Orchard Street. We have Orchard Grove and Orchard Lane up in the northeast side. There's a lot of common names in this city. Debbie, Deborah. Meadow Moss? Oh, that must be up in Meadow Lakes. Nope. Meadows Edge? Nope. Meadow Lakes Boulevard? Yeah. Lots of streets with wood, either in the beginning or the end, or just Wood Street. I know Thibault or Tybo, I'm not sure the pronunciation. I know last names are hard. But I don't think it was terrible. We have Bowdoff off 83. If you can use that one, you can use that one. I just think there's too many common names. We can't go back and change the past, but something to look forward now and in the future. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Gankowski. Is there anybody else in attendance who wishes to address council this evening or the administration? Okay. Seeing none, the lobby session is now closed. We'll move on to administrators' reports. Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. President. We have several first readings up for tonight. I'm going to go over some of those. I'll leave 151 and 152 to our city engineer. I'll start with 153. It is an ordinance to enter into an addendum with GPI for inspection services. Early in 2025, the city engaged GPI to provide engineering inspection services on some construction projects. Given the workload of our existing inspectors, I can't speak tonight. Successful project oversight necessitated outside services, and demands of the different projects have caused costs to rise beyond the mayor's contractual authority. This ordinance allows the contract to go up to a price of $100,000, which, as you have seen, has been increasing over time. And with the engineering components of the construction winding down for the season, this should be enough, sufficient amount for the remaining inspections. And if there are any others beyond that, then they should be able to be handled by our own city inspectors. 154 is an ordinance suspending by right the cluster subdivisions in the R1 residential district and amending chapters 1250, 1280, and 1282 of the zoning code. This ordinance will end the ability of developers to obtain approval for cluster developments in the R1 residence by right, making amendments to the zoning code to that effect, but preserving the cluster requirements in the code for historical reference. What that'll do, since 1960s, the city's first zoning code was adopted. The cluster development has been permitted by right in the residential district. They have been increasingly proposed by developers and today almost exclusively used rather than the requirements of R1 due to the reduced lot sizes and increased design flexibility. The master plan identified numerous concerns with the city zoning code, many in regard to residential development. As recommended in the plan, the city engaged a consultant to conduct a review and diagnosis of the zoning code and subdivision regulations and make recommendations for future changes. A new zoning code is being drafted in accordance with those recommendations of the diagnosis. The draft is nearing completion with an adoption phase anticipated in 2026. The draft code does not permit developers to propose cluster developments by right, as under the current regulations. Instead, any proposal for a cluster-style development or mixed-use development will have to utilize a plan unit development process that requires council to first rezone the property to a PUD. This process is intended to give Planning Commission and Council greater control over residential development and ensure developers include housing types, densities, and amenities that create high-quality neighborhoods. Until this new code is adopted, the current regulations allowing cluster by right are still in place and new projects continue to be proposed. With the draft code nearing completion, the time is right to sunset the ability of developers to propose new cluster developments by right. The R1 district will remain in the interim, which could allow for residential development, though current minimum lot sizes are substantially greater than found in cluster projects. This ordinance will not alter any previous approvals for existing cluster lot developments or phases of developments within an approved preliminary plan. It will also recognize existing developments as legal and zoning compliant so that homeowners in cluster developments are not negatively impacted when they go to finance, sell, or make property improvements. 155 is an ordinance amending ordinance 5311-2016 adopted by council on January 4th, 2016 to remove certain parcels. This ordinance removes two non-productive parcels from an existing commercial TIF. Ordinance 5311, 2016 created TIF 13 in 2016, a .40B parcel TIF, which captures payments in lieu of taxes or pilots when commercial improvements are made and the value of property increases. Certain parcels can be deemed non-productive when they have not produced pilots due to property remaining as farmland or developing residentially. City staff and outside counsel presented to council the concept of .40C TIFs incentive districts at a committee of the whole in September of 2025. Those incentive districts can be used to capture revenue resulting from all improvements, including residential development. TIF proceeds can be used to fund public infrastructure. The ordinance will remove 2 unproductive parcels located on the north side of Sugar Ridge from TIF 13, which will create an opportunity for those parcels to be included in a future incentive district. Other parcels in the vicinity of Sugar Ridge Road generated pilots and therefore cannot be easily removed from TIF 13. The next step will be to create a new .40C TIF, which will require a separate piece of legislation. 156 is ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into a contract with William Schrauf for the purchase of real property. This ordinance will allow the mayor to enter into a purchase agreement for about 12.5 acres of vacant real property. The city acquired 46 acres of land on Avon Belden on the east side of Sugar Ridge and rezoned it to light industrial for the purpose of future economic development. The city has an opportunity to add adjacent acreage to the area, which will improve the development potential of the site. The property will also be rezoned to light industrial, bringing the site close to 60 acres of developable land. The purchase price is $300,000. Funds were appropriated in the 2025 budget for land acquisition. And 157 is an ordinance amending Chapter 1226 Design Standards of the North Ridgeville Subdivision Regulations. This ordinance amends 2 sections of Chapter 1226 Design Standards of the city's subdivision regulations. These sections pertain to requirements for the preservation of wetlands, natural drainage courses, and other preservation areas. The ordinance would prevent wetlands and drainage facilities from being located on residential sublots and require maintenance of such areas to be the responsibility of the HOA. The ordinance also clarifies requirements and prohibitions regarding easements in relation to public utilities. With all that being said, there is a closure to Root Road Park that started today. It's closed to the general public because of construction of the new parking lot. Updates on the project and reopening date will be shared as they become available, but that project, as you remember, is going to pave that parking lot and create some water retention and storm water management areas on that property. There are cemetery improvements underway. They're being performed at all 3 of our cemeteries, Ridgeville Cemetery, Field Cemetery, and Sugar Ridge Cemetery, to replace aging and damaged fencing. As part of the project, the contractor is installing new landscaping, which will serve as a natural barrier and enhance the appearance of each site. The Historical Society will preserve a section of the original Ridgeville Cemetery fence for inclusion in a future display to honor the city's history while improving its sacred spaces. Join me tomorrow morning from 8:30 to 9:30 for coffee and conversation. Unfortunately, our special guest has got a family emergency and will not be able to attend tomorrow. It was supposed to be community care, but if you're interested in attending, if you could bring a donation to support community care's ongoing efforts to serve local families, it would be greatly appreciated. And along with that, we are asking for donated items to community care for our annual food and toy drive by donating non-perishable food items and new toys in their original packaging. Those donation boxes are available at City Hall, Park and Recreation, and Senior Center through Wednesday, November 26th. We would appreciate your donations to help out those that are less fortunate this holiday season. And City Hall offices will be closed in observance of Thanksgiving on Thursday, November 27th and Friday, November 28th. And at this point, Mr. President, I move to go into executive session for the purpose of discussing the purchase of property.
Second.
It was moved by the mayor and seconded by Swank to go into executive session for the purpose of discussing property, as the mayor just explained. Clerk, please call the roll.
Swank.
Yes.
Schaefer.
Yes.
Avens.
Yes.
Winkle.
Yes.
DeVries.
Yes.
Jacobs.
Yes.
Motion carries and we are into executive session.
all back. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your patience. At this time, I will make a motion to adjourn executive session and to return to our regular session this evening.
Second.
Motion was made by Jacobson, seconded by Swink, to adjourn executive session and return to regular session. Clerk, please call the roll.
Swank?
Yes.
Schaefer?
Yes.
Avens?
Yes.
Winkle? Yes. DeVries?
Yes.
Jacobs?
Yes.
Motion carries and return to normal session.
Mr. Mayor, please
That
continue.
concludes
with
my
your-
report, Mr. President. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Mayor. City Engineer.
Thank you, Mr. President. Before you tonight are two engineering ordinances, 2025-151 for the Sugar Ridge Road and Bender Road Roundabout, and 2025-152 for the Sugar Ridge Road Rehabilitation from Bender Road to Waterbury Boulevard. Both of these are now ODOT LPA projects, and as I mentioned during engineering's budget review, the design costs came in much higher than we originally anticipated and budgeted in 2025. As I had noted, the level of vetting and reporting that ODOT now requires has become quite extensive, whether it's the required alternative analysis for various design options, environmental clearances, cultural resource reviews, utility relocation reporting, or their very nasty invoice spreadsheets. It all leads to hundreds of labor hours. On top of that, I just noticed recently that ODOT pre-approves overhead rates for consultants, and I've noticed they've allowed 190% overhead, which means our $100 an hour engineer is now gonna cost us $200, leading to very high labor costs. You can further see the difference in the level of effort by doing a comparison between our design costs for the Stony Ridge Road Peanut Roundabout, which came in around $200,000 at a very similar scope, and no ODOT involvement. Yet the ordinance before you tonight for the Sugar and Bender Roundabout has a not to exceed of $429,000, which is based on ODOT's cost estimating guidance that the consultants use. I also wanted to note that both of these consultants had actually originally proposed a not to exceed even greater than what you're seeing here. And engineering worked with both consultants to try to narrow the scope, and we even volunteered to do some of the work ourselves to try to keep those costs down. So in summary, I just wanted to let everyone know that, future projects with ODOT involvement will likely require a much more exhaustive scope, which equates to higher costs than we would normally expect. I also wanted to expound just a minute on what the mayor had noted before for ordinance 2025-157. I have some proposed language in there to chapter 1226, design standards. As you likely know, engineering often gets called out to drainage complaints in private yards, which I'm sure most of you do as well. Often the problem stems from some kind of shared drainage system, whether it's a shared open swale, perhaps, or a common storm sewer that runs through multiple backyards. Over time, residents may have filled in the ditch or regraded it or put a shed up, or perhaps their fence contractor drilled a post through the storm sewer, and now neighboring properties have a difficult time or are unable to drain their stormwater runoff. This usually ends up in having very difficult conversations with the homeowners, asking them to regrade the ditch or fix the storm sewer so that all their neighbors can drain and function as originally intended. To avoid this in the future, it would help to have stronger language in our standards that prohibits any type of shared systems for future subdivisions. If developers would like to pursue shared drainage systems, they can always put them in the common blocks where they will be free of potential of regrading, fencing, and other encumbrances. If you have any questions regarding the suggested language, the proposed language, please feel free to reach out to me. And that concludes my report. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Director of Finance?
Nothing tonight, thank you.
Okay.
Through the chair.
Mr. Schaefer?
Recently, a couple of weeks ago, we had a finance committee meeting. I wondered what your impressions were of that.
The Finance Committee meeting for the 2026 budget?
Yes,
I thought it went very well.
because there was, earlier this year, you mentioned that we were having some type of financial crisis. I believe you used the word shocked, and that we needed to pass this tax increase, or we would be cutting services. Yet I went to this finance committee meeting, and there was no discussion about cutting any services. Matter of fact, there was new additional spending suggested. What is the status of this financial emergency?
I don't believe I used the term financial crisis or emergency. And I do believe several times during the Finance Committee meeting, which we held to discuss the tax increase, I mentioned many times that these were estimates. Those estimates get updated when we go through the budget process. So I guess I'm confused of what you're referring to.
I'm just saying that you used the word shocked.
Yeah,
And
I did use that
The
word.
question is, what's the status of this
The status-
shortfall, emergency, whatever semantics you want to use to describe it?
That was presented during the Finance Committee meeting, which you were present for.
Yes.
You received a document that had fund summaries for every fund that we have in
I'm
the
talking
city.
about for the people.
I don't have that information in front of me. That presentation is part of a public meeting. Any resident can ask for that information.
Would you receive any benefit from a forensic audit?
We are audited annually by the Auditor of State, which is an external audit. I really don't know what a forensic audit would produce outside of what the Auditor of State already does.
So would it be the same thing as the state auditors? A forensic audit would be just basically duplicative?
I don't know. I can't say. The Auditor of State audits all of our records, all of our cash, all of our fund summaries. Every transaction council approves, they audit. Thank you.
Thank you. Please note that on, excuse me, as noted on the agenda, council has also received the October 2025 Water Distribution and EPA report, as well as the Planning Commission, you know what, am I in the right? Yeah. Excuse me. Yeah, the September 2025 Building Division report. Got that wrong. And we'll move on to, I believe, new business. Under new business this evening, the North Ridgeville Planning Commission took action on a couple of items at their regular meeting of November 12th, 2025. Clerk, if you could please read the first item for ordinance 2025-110.
An ordinance amending sections 1268.02, 1270.02, and 1272.04 of the North Ridgeville zoning code to update use regulations for automobile service stations and gasoline station. The Planning Commission action recommended approval of the ordinance with amendments as presented, which was approved by a vote of 4-1.
Mr. President,
Yes, Mr. Abens.
I move to approve.
Second.
The motion was made by Abens and seconded by Swank to approve the Planning Commission's recommended approval of ordinance 2025-110. Is there any discussion?
Through the chair.
Mr. Schaefer?
I'm kind of confused here. It currently defines automotive service station and gasoline station as synonymous. To me, those are two different things. An automotive service station is where you have your cars serviced and they can or cannot sell gasoline, whereas a gasoline station purely sells gasoline. Why are they synonymous?
Mr. Abens, would you, as a Planning Commission liaison, would you be able to answer that?
It was brought up to us by our legal counsel and our planning director that we should use those terms intermingled because there are still some gas stations that are service stations. And so they were put in there as a synonym.
Thank you, Mr. Abens. Any additional questions or discussion? So again, the motion was made by Abens and seconded by Swank to approve the Planning Commission's recommendation of approval. Clerk, please call the roll.
Swank?
Yes.
Schaefer?
No.
Abens?
Yes.
Winkle?
Yes.
DeVries?
Yes.
Jacobs?
Yes.
Motion carries.
We'll move on to the second Planning Commission item, which was ordinance 2025-145. Clerk.
An ordinance providing the renaming of Tebow Trail to Orchard Park Drive. Planning Commission recommended approval of the ordinance with the condition that Orchard Park Drive start where the street bends east, and that the existing dwellings with Avon Belden addresses are maintained as such as on a portion of unnamed street, which was approved by a vote of 5-0.
Mr. President,
Yes, Mr. Abens?
first, quite frankly, nobody knows where the name Tebow came from. It sounds like it was assigned by the county, but nobody really knows. And it will be still known as Avon, that section that faces 83 will still be known as Avon Belden, while the rest will be known as Orchard Park. That's the new division that's going in. And so I make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
The motion was made by Abens and seconded by Swank to approve the Planning Commission's recommendation to approve. Is there any discussion?
Through the chair,
Mr. Schaefer?
I just would like to mention that during our lobbying session, there was a gentleman that spoke about confusion on street names, and I've often had the same confusion, and just for his general aggrandizement, apparently this is the correct procedure to rename a street. Is that correct?
That's correct.
It is.
Okay.
Any other discussion? Again, the motion was made by Abens and seconded by Swank, excuse me, to approve the Planning Commission's recommendation to approve. Clerk, please call the roll.
Swank,
Yes.
Schaefer,
Yes.
Abens,
Yes.
Winkle,
Yes.
DeVries,
Yes.
Jacobs.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Brings us to recess.
Mr. President, move to dispense with recess.
Second.
It was moved by Winkle and seconded by DeVries to dispense with recess this evening. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say yes. Yes. All opposed, say no. All right, we will move on to first readings. Up first tonight, we have 2025-151.
An ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into a contract with Fishbeck, a professional consulting firm specializing in engineering, environmental sciences, architecture, and construction management to provide engineering services for the Sugar Ridge Road and Bender Road roundabout in an amount not to exceed $429,807.
2025-152.
An ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into a contract with American Structure Point Incorporated, a national full-service architecture and engineering firm to provide engineering services for the Sugar Ridge Road Rehabilitation Project in the amount not to exceed $370,410.
Mr. President,
Yes, Mr. Mayor.
move to dispense with the second and third readings.
Second.
It was moved by the mayor and seconded by Abens to dispense with the second and third readings for 2025-152. Is there any discussion?
Mr. President, it's been a little bit now since we've approved moving forward with this project. This is the engineering portion of that project. As you heard the city engineer talk about these contracts, we do have some ODOT deadlines, both the Sugar Ridge Road Rehabilitation Project and the previous ordinance, the roundabout, are going to be handled by ODOT. There are deadlines for ODOT. Both engineering firms have asked for these projects to be moved forward in an expedited basis, so that way they can meet the deadlines of ODOT coming up. There are some groundwork that they need to do, surveying and some other pieces like that, that are challenging, if not impossible, during snow. So they're looking to get started, and we're looking to have this adopted tonight without the emergency clause.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Any additional comments or questions?
Mr. President,
Yes, Mr. Winkle?
I had a question for engineer. So we mentioned that how ODOT is, the cost for them has increased, and that's something that they control. However, ODOT does bring us a value for their contribution. I was wondering if you could share that part as well, because of the split that we get as a result of ODOT being involved.
Absolutely. So, of course, I believe the construction costs on these, both of these were 2080. So, you know, without that cost share, you know, it would be very difficult for us to move forward on these projects. And I didn't mention earlier, but both of these they had different funding. One had some CMAQ funding and one had a different funding source through NOACA. So, through our various funding, we are obviously able to expedite these projects much quicker than we would be able to do on our own. And with a much wider scope as well, we might not be able to afford the things that we could do with these projects, including the multi-use path or some drainage improvements. So is the added $200,000 cost in engineering worth the outcome? I would say definitely yes.
Thank you. I just wanted to make sure it was clear, because we heard what you said before, and that's something we can't control. However, it's such a monumental contribution that they make. I just want to make sure everybody's aware of that.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Mr. President, that 20-80 split, just to remind everybody, is 20% is the local share and 80% is paid for through the ODOT NOACA process.
Thank you. Do we have any additional comments or questions?
Mr. President,
Mrs. Swink?
I voted no for the whole project itself, so due to that nature, I'm going to go ahead and vote no for this.
Okay, additional comments or questions? Again, it was moved by the mayor and seconded by Abens to dispense with the second and third readings for 2025-152. Clerk, please call the roll.
Swink,
No.
Schaefer,
No.
Abens,
Yes.
Winkle,
Yes.
DeVries,
Yes.
Jacobs.
Yes.
By a vote of 4 to 2, the motion carries.
Mr. President, move to adopt.
Second?
It was moved by the mayor and seconded by Abens to adopt 2025-152. Are there any comments or questions at this time? Hearing none, clerk, please call the roll.
Swink,
No.
Schaefer,
No.
Abens,
Yes.
Winkle,
Yes.
DeVries,
Yes.
Jacobs.
Yes.
By a vote of 4 to 2, the motion carries.
Up next, 2025-153.
An ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into a contract addendum according to law in a manner prescribed by law with Agreement and Peterson Incorporated for engineering inspection services.
Mr. President,
Mr. Mayor?
move to dispense with the second and third readings.
Second?
It was moved by the mayor and seconded by Abens to dispense with the second and third readings for 2025-153. Is there any discussion?
Mr. President, in my lengthy report earlier, I had described the engineering inspection services that this company provides to us, the amount exceeding the threshold that the mayor is allowed to authorize, and we are coming back to ask council to exceed that threshold. There are additional inspection services that are required, and we'd like this company to finish that out. And this is to take us through the end of the year.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Any additional comments or questions?
Mr. President,
Mrs. Swink?
I would just like to note that there was originally no addendum attached to legislation, so I had asked our assistant clerk. And the addendum to this legislation is actually in your email box from the assistant clerk, so there's some clarification with that.
Thank you, Mrs. Swink.
You're welcome.
And to clarify also, this was money that was appropriated. We're not asking for any additional money than what was already appropriated in the 2025 budget.
That's correct.
Additional comments or questions? Again, it was moved by the mayor and seconded by Abens to dispense with the second and third readings for 2025-153. All in favor say yes.
Yes.
All opposed say no. Motion carries.
Mr. President, move to adopt.
Second?
Mr. President, move to add the emergency clause so that way we can continue these engineering inspection services as the project is, it needs them throughout the remaining portion of this year.
Second?
It was moved by the mayor and seconded by Abens to add the emergency clause to 2025-153 for the reasons stated by the mayor. On the emergency clause, all in favor say yes.
Yes.
All opposed say no. It was moved by the mayor and seconded by Abens to adopt 2025-153 with the emergency clause in place. Are there any comments or questions at this time? Hearing none, clerk, please call the roll.
Swink,
Yes.
Schaefer,
Yes.
Abens,
Yes.
Winkle,
Yes.
DeVries,
Yes.
Jacobs.
Yes.
Motion carries and 2025-153 has been adopted.
2025-154.
An ordinance suspending the by right cluster subdivisions in the R1 resident district and amending chapters 1250, 1280, and 1282 of the North Ridgeville zoning code.
2025-154 will be sent to Planning Commission for review. 2025-155.
An ordinance amending ordinance number 5311-2016 adopted by council on January 4th, 2016 to remove certain parcels.
Okay, sorry about that. Moving on to 156.
An ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into a contract with William D. Schroff for the purchase of real property.
Mr. President,
Mr. Mayor?
move to dispense with the second and third readings.
Second.
It was moved by the mayor and seconded by Swank to dispense with the second and third readings for 2025-156. Is there any discussion?
Mr. President, we have the opportunity to take a residential piece of property off the planning board for housing developments, similar to what we did with the 46 acres that is adjoining this property. The intention is to rezone this piece over to light industrial and making the entire parcel of almost 60 acres to be light industrial, so we can create that business park that we've been talking about for a little bit now. And we're making strides on going forward with that project next year, and that those additional pieces have been budgeted for in the budget that's been put before you. So, as always with purchase of property, we use the emergency clause, so that way that we can purchase the property before somebody else does. We have this opportunity, and we want to take it in order to improve the fortunes of the city.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Any additional comments or questions?
Through the chair,
Mr. Schaefer?
could you explain to us a little bit more about what this business park is? Will we be selling the land to people? Will we be giving it away? Will we be renting it? How does that work exactly?
It all depends on the buyer. It depends on the business that's coming in. There's a lot that is unknown at this point. We don't know how many parcels we would create in that park. Really depends on how big of a end user we can get that would locate there. So there's a lot of different possibilities. I can't answer that question right now, but I can tell you that there isn't a lot of industrial property that's located in the city. And, when we bought the 46 acres, we created a piece, and now we're looking to create a bigger piece by adding this property to that. So from that perspective, we have the ability to bring in additional employees, and more importantly, income tax for the city with this project.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mr. President, if I could add to that, to Mr.
Go ahead,
Schaefer.
Mrs. Swank.
This also takes out prime property that a subdivision can't buy and put more houses on. So I'm all for it. That's all.
Thank you, Mrs. Swank. Any additional comments? So again, the motion was made by the mayor and seconded by Swank to dispense with the second and third readings for 2025-156. All in favor, say yes.
Yes.
All opposed, say no.
Mr. President, move to adopt.
Second.
Mr. President, move to add the emergency clause so we may close on this property in a timely manner before the end of the year and use the money that's already been budgeted for this purpose.
Second.
It was moved by the mayor and seconded by Swink to add the emergency clause to 2025-156, as for the reasons stated by the mayor. On the emergency clause, all in favor say yes.
Yes.
All opposed say no. It was moved by the mayor and seconded by Swink to adopt 2025-156 with the emergency clause in place. Are there any comments or questions at this time? Hearing none, clerk, please call the roll.
Swink,
Yes.
Schaefer,
Yes.
Abens,
Yes.
Winkle,
Yes.
DeVries,
Yes.
Jacobs.
Yes.
2025-156 has been adopted.
Mr. President,
Mr. Mayor?
we're going to need to go back to 152.
Yeah.
Yep.
Just adopted.
Yes, so in order to suspend the bylaws and dispense with the readings, it would require a supermajority of council, correct? Which we did not have with a 4-2 vote. So I believe we need to withdraw the motion, is that? Assistant Clerk, is that how that works? Withdraw the motion?
Can we get a better understanding of that?
There needs to be a supermajority of all council, not just present. So 4-2, there needs to be 5 votes for that. So I said it passed when it had not. To dispense the 2/3.
And that's because George is absent today?
Correct. And it's not a supermajority of those that are present, but all of council. So I apologize.
Oh, that's okay. Yeah.
So, Mr. Moriarty, do you know how to proceed at this point then, as far as the motion that was made? Can we withdraw the motion?
I think it could be withdrawn.
So I'll
Just read
withdraw,
it.
I'll withdraw the motion to dispense with the second and third readings.
Second.
Do we have it? So the motion was made by the mayor and seconded by Winkle to withdraw the earlier motion to dispense the second and third readings for 2025-152. Is there any discussion? Clerk, please call the roll.
Swink,
Yes.
Schaefer,
Yes, I think.
Abens,
Yes.
Winkle,
Yes.
DeVries,
Yes.
Jacobs.
Yes.
Motion has been withdrawn.
Now we're good? Moved it? Okay. Thank you. 2025-157.
An ordinance amending Chapter 1226 Design Standards of the North Ridgeville Subdivision Regulations.
And 157 will also be sent to Planning Commission for review and recommendation. 2025-158.
An ordinance providing the appropriations for current expenses and other expenditures of the city of North Ridgeville, Ohio for the period commencing January 1st, 2026 and ending December 31st, 2026.
Twenty 2025-159.
An ordinance vacating a portion of Aspen Street.
And ordinance 2025-159 will also be sent to Planning Commission for review and recommendation. That'll bring us to second readings. We have 2025-110.
An ordinance amending sections 1226.02, 1270.02, and 1272.04 of the North Ridgeville zoning code to update use regulations for automobile service stations and gasoline stations.
Mr. President,
Yes, Mr. Abens?
I hope I can word this right. I'd like to make a motion to substitute the PC's recommendations with this amendment that was put onto our desks.
I'll second.
So it was moved by Abens and seconded by Swink to essentially amend 2025-110 by substitution with the version that is here at our desks, which incorporates the suggested changes by the Planning Commission. Is there any discussion?
Through the chair,
Mr. Schaefer?
just to be clear, PC means Planning Commission?
It does. Any additional comments or questions? Clerk, please call the roll.
Swink,
Yes.
Schaefer,
Yes.
Abens,
Yes.
Winkle,
Yes.
DeVries,
Yes.
Jacobs.
Yes.
Motion carries, and 2025-110 substitute has been amended.
2025-146.
An ordinance adopting the City of North Ridgeville Cybersecurity Program in accordance with the Ohio Revised Code Section 9.64C.
We do not have anything under third readings this evening. As for meeting announcements, there will be a Utilities Committee meeting held on Monday, December 1st, 2025 at 6:15 PM here in council chambers, and that is to discuss ordinance 2025-147. The next regular city council meeting will be held on Monday, December 1st at 7 PM here in council chambers, and a public hearing will be held on Monday, December 15th, 2025 at 6:30 PM in council chambers to discuss ordinance number 2025-145. On behalf of City Council, I'd like to take this opportunity to wish all of the residents a very happy, healthy, and safe Thanksgiving holiday. To the employees of the city, we're especially grateful for all of your service and your dedication throughout the year. So we thank you for your ongoing efforts there. I'd also like to take a moment to congratulate the winners of the Council at Large race. Mrs. Swank, Mr. Olansky, Mrs. Zingali, congratulations to all three of you. I sincerely wish you all the best, and as I have mentioned to you all previously, if there's anything that I can do to help with this transition, I am certainly willing to do that. So congratulations, everyone. Do any members of council have any final comments this evening?
Mr. President,
Mr. Winkle?
I do have a few comments, and I just want to share my thoughts on something. I've been the chairman of the Finance Committee now for 2 months, roughly, and we just had our Finance Committee meetings the other day, and we spent 14 hours over 2 days in this room going over thousands of line items for our city budget. It's time consuming. It takes a while to get through. That's after our director of finance had to put it together over a period of a long time to get us to that point. When I first started here on council, that process was 3 or 4 days. Now we can get it done in 14 hours, which is impressive. So I just want to make sure everybody understands that I don't sit there and ignore our financial concerns. I can say that I was shocked when I saw what our financial projection was in 3 years. It's not just made up, and no one wants to do that. I know I don't. I can speak for myself right now, that we have an issue that we have to resolve, and I want to solve it together with everybody on board and figure out a plan to get it done, okay? The director of finance and I, we spoke after a meeting. What we're going to try to do is put together a maybe condensed version of the budget and put it online so the public can look at it. We want to be transparent. I want to solve a problem here. I'm not trying to make any excuses. We want to work, and I want to work together, everybody in this room, everybody in the city. I'm a North Ridgevillian, so are you. We're all in it together, okay? So before this turns into a witch hunt on a director of finance, and I don't want to see that, because despite what you think, she's good at her job, and she works very hard, and that's my honest opinion about it. And do we have problems to fix? We do, all right? And we're going to figure out how to get it there. So I just wanted to share that with everybody here and whoever's watching or watching this video. And we are going to push some more information out. Her and I talked about it. We heard transparency is wanted. We're going to get it out there. I'm hoping the first quarter of 26 we'll get something out there so everybody can kind of see what we're talking about, why we're concerned. What solutions do we have? And my goodness, anytime there's a finance committee meeting you see on the books, please show up. Please express your concerns, because we had nobody show up at our finance committee meeting. Nobody.
JD did.
Oh, Jade, I'm sorry. I apologize, JD. You sure there. I apologize to you, sir. Please forgive me. You were there. All right.
And Greg Fanning
Greg
showed
was
up.
there. Greg was there too. So Greg was there day 2. JD was there day 1. So we appreciate that. Yeah, no, it's a lot. It's 14 hours. It's a long time. It's a grind. Okay, it's a lot to talk about. We know that departments need more, and we're going to try to figure it out. So I apologize to both you guys. You guys were there, but let's just say our attendance is not where I wish it could be. please show up, voice your concerns. We want to hear them. If that's the time. The finance committee is where we get down to nitty gritty. So I just want to say all that. Sorry being so long-winded. Thank you for your time. I'm going to be quiet. Thank you.
No, thank you, Mr. Winkle. Very well said. Thank you. Any final comments this evening?
Through the chair,
Mr. Schaefer?
I would again like to congratulate the victors on our recent electoral soiree. I've known Mr. Walensky for several years, and he's the one that first introduced me to impact fees, which I've read up on quite a bit, and I thank him for that and look forward to working with them. I would also like to thank Ms. Swangali. I swear I thought your surname was Callie. I'm sorry. I was looking at the ballot. Where's Callie at? Fortunately, the ballot has a large print edition, so I was good there. And of course, I would like to thank Holly Swank. And while we will miss her at this end of the podium, we wish her safe travels on her journey to the other side of the room. And I'd also like to mention that when we vote, a lot of these things, I would say 95% of these things are non-controversial, like fixing a bridge or fixing a road. And if it seems like everybody's just kind of voting in lockstep, it may seem that way. I could see how you would think we were all just rubber stamping everything, but there's only about 5% of things that we really disagree on. And of something of absolutely no interest whatsoever, except for me, there is a word for somebody that rubber stamps everything. It's called a sycophant. That's your word of the day, sycophant. And finally, I want to give out a lot of love to the people of North Ridgeville that wisely voted down a really poorly conceived tax increase. I swear I thought this was written by the Three Stooges. I just can't understand how. I think it shows the danger of putting something on the ballot using the emergency clause. I also would like to take this opportunity to do something I rarely do, and that's admit I was wrong. I initially thought that this issue 8 was unnecessarily divisive. I thought it was pitting the people who work in the city against the people who work outside of the city. I was wrong. The people were united. They got together and vetoed the damn thing. So with that, I say thank you, good night, happy holidays, peace out.
Any council members have any final comments? All right.